What is up, basketball fans, and welcome to the Triple H Podcast Happy Hour Hoops, your one-stop shop for listening to our ice-cold basketball takes and enjoying an ice-cold beverage, if you like. We are going to be talking about the All-NBA teams today, the Happy Hour Hoops version of the All-NBA teams, who we think should make it and maybe will make it. A little preview for some All-Star Weekend in the news and notes, and a couple other things. How we doing today, boys?
We're doing good. Football season has officially ended, which you know why I like that, Donnie. That means basketball season has officially begun. It always begins for me in October, but it is officially basketball season. College basketball's heating up. The NBA's getting crazy. We're past the trade deadline, so we kind of know what these teams are going towards the playoff race, and we're going to see two incredible races these next 2 months. The race and the playoffs, obviously, and then the tank race for good old Victor Wembanyama. I can't wait. It's going to be a great couple of months.
Yes.
The lines are going to get drawn very quickly on the Wembanyama race, and I can't wait. After All-Star, we're going to see who's really about that Wemby life and really who isn't, and I, for one, cannot wait. But yeah, going into All-Star break, it's not the halfway point of the year, right? Like, we're at about what? I think this is technically the Cavs have played are going to play their 52nd game tonight. So we're about 3/5 of the way in, 60%, something like that. Yeah. So we're about there. And I think it's still, though, I think it's a really good point to like reset. And that's what we're going to kind of do today with our all NBA teams here at the All-Star break. And that way kind of just talk about all those teams and just where they're sitting at with those guys and just kind of get into a conversation there. But coming out of All-Star, like you mentioned, it's always a different world. Like, we're going to know who's, like I said, who's really tanking and who's going to be just playing, 6G leaguers every night, and who's going to be going balls to the wall to get to those playoff spots. Because really, like, you look at the East and the West, that's going to be the race, is to get out of the play-in. Those 6 and 5 spots are, and even in the West more than the East, the 4 and the 3 spots too, all still kind of up for grabs. That is going to make for a really exciting race, and I think that's the biggest benefit of the play-in. This is the first year we're really going to see the playoff race benefit from the play-in. So we got a lot to get through before we get to all that stuff tonight, though.
Yeah, and the other thing about post All-Star and like this part of the season, like you guys mentioned, like 60% through, like you guys held it down last week, talked about the trade deadline and all the moves that happened. I feel like we know all the moves that happen, but after the All-Star break is kind of when you're like actually realizing, unless you're playing 2K every day and you just know the teams because you're like playing online games all the time. But after All-Star break is when you're actually like, oh yeah, like he's on this team now. Yeah. This guy has that team. Definitely. You can actually start to see what trades are working out after the All-Star break. So it really is, even though it isn't the second half start of the season, it kind of is like a new beginning of the season when everything starts to get real. And it's shorter than the first half of the season, but it almost feels longer during this stretch. And yeah, I'm fucking hyped about it, dude. I love this time of year. We mentioned too March Madness coming up. It's gonna be amazing.
Where'd you go, Steve?
I got too excited when I heard March Madness. I had to dip out for a little bit.
Steve just bounced from the stream when I said March Madness. He was like, "Is it on right now?" But yeah, let's get into the news and notes here, boys. Let's start with the All-Star stuff. Shams might have been a little butthurt that Woj got out more trade tweets than him, so he just.
Can we talk about that for a second though? Because I think the demise of Woj was grossly overstated all year. Everyone was like, "Oh, Shams is cooking him all year. It's been crazy," and Woj was just waiting. He was waiting for Game 7 to come out swinging.
Well, Shams got sloppy, bro. He kept posting those flirting videos. Everything I kept seeing was that Shams is the Riz God because he kept flirting on all those FanDuel videos that he posted.
Oh yeah, him with Kay Adams.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Dude.
It's like, bro, we get it. And Woj was just sitting there, not distracted at all. He had all the, Shams might have had a few bigger names in his trades. He had KD, of course, but Woj stayed ready and just made sure he got the higher number. Yeah. He went quantity over quality, and I'm still team Woj, by the way.
Always.
Woj also broke the KD trade too. Like it wasn't even like Shams got the big one. Woj was all over everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man. So I think Shams was a little salty. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna be the first one to get the word on the 3-point contest. He did this to us 2 days ago, I believe. I believe Monday. Shams told us the 3-point contest. It is of the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, the Kings, Kevin Huerter, the Miami Heats, Tyler Hero, the Indiana Pacers, Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton, the Portland Trailblazers, Dame Lillard and Anthony Simons, and then Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz. What do you guys think off rip? Any standouts here? Any surprises? I think this is a really exciting group, to be honest with you.
A lot of good 3-point shooters in here. That's what you want to see with a contest. We have to see with the injury for Simons if he'll be able to compete in this.
True.
But I'm looking at it right now, and what stands out to me is there's only really one big man in the 3-point contest this year, and it's the guy who made the absolute leap, Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen, who goes to the Jazz, his game goes to the next level,
Evolved,
and he's really the only true big man in here. But I think it's well deserved because he's been shooting the lights out. Do I think Lauri's going to win? It's a tough field, probably not. But it is cool to see, a guy who's pretty much 7 feet tall in this 3-point contest with another lights out 3-point shooters who have really been their entire career. Lauri was kind of inconsistent the start of his career in Chicago, but it's really cool to see Lauri, kind of get some respect for how good of a season he's having.
How about you, Jake? Anyone stand out? Anyone you're excited for?
Well, first, I just want to finish up on the Shams thing. If you go to his Wikipedia, it literally says Shams Charania, also known as Riz God, which is just incredible. Incredible stuff. I never know who's going to win the 3-point contest, bro. I swear to God, I'm always grossly wrong guessing who's going to win it.
It's like the home
Tatum
run
was in
derby,
last year,
dude.
wasn't he? Wasn't Tatum in last year?
Tatum had a
He had a good
27-point round, I think.
That's right. Yeah. I feel like he's gonna be good here. Halliburton's release is gonna be really weird to watch in a 3-point contest.
I was gonna ask you guys that. He's a much more off the dribble, heat of the moment. He's very good in game action. I feel he's a better shooter when pressure's on. Yeah. I don't know. His standstill, whether it's going in or not, it's just going to look weird as hell to see him in the 3-point contest.
Yeah, I don't even know what that's going to look like. I can't even picture it in my head. I'm going with my boy Kevin Huerter, though. Huerter's got to take this home today. This is his year. He's been balling out in Sacramento. Yeah, that's where I'm going. I really would. I mean, Dame was pretty good, I think, the last couple times.
Yeah, he's always.
Hero's got a great release. I feel that's what I look for is who
Hero
can get off the cleanest release.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one.
Because it's all just getting into the rhythm. Those guys do those drills all the time, and then you could clear the whole rack. You're never going to clear the rack at the All-Star game, but I bet you there's guys that can clear those racks pretty easily. I love the Mountain Dew ball too. I don't know if they're doing that again this year.
I was literally just looking up who's sponsoring the 3-point contest.
Okay, yeah, because that's such a great addition.
It's the 30-footer.
I forgot about it. I was playing through my 2K thing the other day, and I was in the 3-point, and then all of a sudden the dew ball comes up, and you're just like, "What the fuck?" And I got beat by the dew ball, so it actually hurt my feelings. But it's a dope. They've done things All-Star Saturday night is for my book it's home run derby and then probably All-Star Saturday night because they just even the skills comp going through is so much fun to watch those guys race, watch them fuck up. One of the guys just can't hit a pass or whatever. It's real that's a pretty stacked list.
I don't know if I'm frozen here. If Jake's
frozen. Jake's frozen.
I did look it up though, and it says Starry is what sponsors the 3-point contest. I didn't even know that's a soda. Apparently, I didn't even know what that was.
Learn something new every day. Yeah. I was gonna bring up the odds, which I'm curious because obviously I'm a betting guy, Johnny. Got to see the odds. The favorite right now is Buddy Hield at plus 420. Buddy Hield is the odds favorite right now at plus 420. Then you have Lillard at 470, Tatum 550, Lauri 6-1, Kevin Huerter 650, Tyrese 650, Tyler Hero 8-1, and then Simons at 850. Which I'd assume the injury he just had is probably going into play a little bit there.
Yeah.
Hero at 8-1 is kind of crazy because I think Jake made a great point with his release could really help him. But is there anyone you think, Dunny, besides your Celtics bias here with Tatum? Anyone you think who's probably good odds of that list?
I'm probably gonna sprinkle Dame and Tatum, to be honest with you. Tatum's obvious, like you said, but I really like Dame. Just
I don't know about Starry. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my god!
What do you mean you don't know about Starry?
I've never heard about that, bro. What is that?
Sierra Mist just rebranded like 2 weeks
Oh, okay.
ago.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
That's
it just looks like a knockoff Sprite,
but I've been like hyping it up to my girlfriend all the time. Like, yo, we gotta get some Starry, and this was a Valentine's gift to me. It was this?
Oh hell yeah, dude.
So you brought it up, and I was like, oh my god, I you couldn't hear me, so I got up and ran and grabbed my Starry as quick as I could.
So they're gonna have the Starry Ball this year, maybe. But yes, Steve kind of just ran through the odds there. I was saying I like Tatum and Dame Lillard. Even those are just two guys who kind of gut feeling. I think have a good shot. Dame, he's just kind of I feel like Dame just kind of seems like he's on a fuck you tour this year. Like Portland's not that good.
Yeah.
He's sticking to his guns about how he doesn't want to leave Portland. He's kind of sick and tired of people like overlooking him and kind of thinking maybe his career's done or he's on a decline. But Dame has just been so good this year and kind of in the shadows. And I feel like the 3-point contest is like just another one of those things where he could just win it easily and be like, yeah, I'm still here.
I like that pick. Dame was going to be one of the ones I was going to go with. I think 470 for Dame, even the second shortest odds. I like that. And then Jake, before you kind of cut out, what you were saying, Tyler Hero just has kind of the release and the rhythm if he gets hot to really just get in that flow. Hero at 8-1, the second longest odds feels just too long to me. I kind of like Hero as well.
Oh, 8-1. Ooh.
Yeah. Do you want to hear the? I went through it.
I heard Buddy Hield plus 420, and I like that just for
he's the favorite. Buddy Hield's the favorite, dude.
Yeah,
Buddy is like made for a 3-point contest. Like that guy has been built to win 3-point contests. He should be the favorite every year. Yeah, give me the rundown quick though.
So Buddy Hield's plus 420, Dame is 470, Tatum 550, Laurie 6, Kevin Huerter 650, Tyrese 650. Hero 8-1, and then Anthony 850. Like I said, I told
no respect for Anthony.
I think the injury might be playing in a little bit. He had an injury last night, so I think that might play.
I was gonna say if Anthony's healthy, like he could go. He could be quick through there. That
you talk about Portland games too. When Anthony's hot and Dame recognizes it, he just gives the ball to Anthony as soon as he passes half court, and that man will just make anything. Anthony's one of those guys where when he gets in his rhythm, when he starts getting hot, he's making it from anywhere.
It's a crazy heat check.
It's kind of crazy how all the young guys, like guys who have the slightest bit of an offensive bag in the NBA nowadays just have that confident three also.
Oh, yeah.
Like it seems like they all just come in with it. And it's like, these guys were watching Curry in high school. That's what happens.
I think you have to have that type of like confidence now in today's game with the amount of star power we have. You have to have it where it doesn't matter what your name is, who you are. If you're hot, just keep on shooting. Until they tell you to stop.
Yeah. And Dunny, that's a great point you make though. Like even just think about you playing, like you going to play basketball or pickup. Like I used to never take threes. Like in my life, like I was like, I will never make this in a game. I won't take this. Like I lived in, that's why my that's the only thing I have, my mid-range, whatever. And then it's like 5 years later, like if you don't take threes in a basketball game, like you're fucked, dude. You're just going to get like, everyone's just going to pile in. And it's like, it's fallen from every single level. And so I think that's a great point by you because all these young guys coming in, they are willing to chuck it no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the 3-point contest. Everyone's willing to chuck it here. Got some guys willing to dunk it too. Some people are mad about this. We were talking about it before we hopped on. The old heads are pissed about the dunk contest. We like the talent in here though. The dunk contest, which I think we've kind of known at least some of these names for a while, but this is the finalists and the ones who are locked in here for All-Star Weekend. Jericho Sims, Mac McClung, who is a Happy Hour Hoop favorite. He just got signed to a 2-way deal for the Sixers, so you might see some playing time for him in Philadelphia. Kenyon Martin Jr. and Trey Murphy III. Just guys with a bunch of bounce, which I guess is all you can ask for in a dunk contest. I know we were talking about this too. Like, of course, you want to see some bigger names. Like, who wouldn't want to see LeBron in year 20 in a dunk contest finally? But probably not going to happen ever. Zion Williamson, another guy people would love to see. You know, just I mean, there's so many guys. I would love to see Jaylen Brown in a dunk contest. I think he would fare well. But just looking at it, who do you guys like for this?
For some reason, Kenyon Martin Jr. is speaking to me. I've seen him have a larger role with the Rockets when they were dealing with a ton of injuries, and his confidence obviously was helping him. But, dude, he is a monster with some of the dunks he would throw down in game, stuff I didn't really expect to see. I think he's someone there where he may not have the flashiest dunks at times, but he's going to have these vicious type dunks where it's just going to look like he's attacking the rim in this contest. And that's something I kind of want to see. Obviously, all these guys have bounce. All these guys have flashiness. But Kenyon Martin Jr. is someone where just by watching some Rockets games this year where he was getting an expanded role, where he was starting, I was kind of blown away of how athletic he actually is.
Yeah. Jake, what about you?
Dude's a stud. We were talking about it a little bit before, but I'm so excited to see Jericho Sims in a dunk contest.
Yeah,
I mean,
bro.
you're talking about Mac McClung, like a guy, like you said earlier too, like made his living off of you know, dunks and everything coming out and everything. But Jericho Sims too. Like I remember watching him, high school highlights, college highlights, everything, and just I thought he was like going to be LeBron James, seeing how athletic he is. Clearly, he's not that, but he is going to, and he's not afraid to try anything crazy either. Like I've seen him try some crazy. I think you know, Steve. There's one in particular I remember him trying in game. I don't know if you remember. I'd have to find it, but he's just tried some crazy in-game dunks in college and everything. So he's going to do something humongous, like something out of this world if he can connect. That's the thing about these dunk contests too. That's like, do you guys like the unlimited chances? Because I kind of hate the unlimited chances.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it.
Because I feel like these guys are trying way too hard. Yeah, and they're trying things that are like too hard. Like you can't do this dunk, bro. You've tried it 17 times. Like, please stop trying it. And that's the
thing, right? It's like it takes away from how sick the dunk is if it's like the 8th attempt they make it. It's like, we just watched you fail this 7 times in a row. Like, you finally got it, but it's not the same as when first try, first dunk, and everyone's blown away. Like that,
and the crowd gets sucked out of it too. If you're just sitting there watching this dude, like even if it's the sickest dunk ever after the 5th time, like no one's gonna be as excited as if it was the 1st or 2nd, just because of the time in between people. Like naturally, a crowd's gonna fall. Yeah, I don't know if that's still a rule. I think it still is this year. I've never liked it. I get why they needed to do it because these guys were missing 2 dunks. And what are you gonna do? Like you can't just have everybody getting zeros. But yeah, it's just a weird thing.
Yeah, man. I feel like over the years they've tried to do a little too much with the dunk contest, but it's still, I mean, when done right, it still is one of the most exciting parts of the weekend. I'm definitely most excited to see Mac McClung just because he's one of my guys. I'm just rooting for him to get a shot here. It's also super cool that because before today he wasn't even a part of a team. You know, he's just in the G League. He had bounced around to a few different teams. You know, G League affiliate teams. And he's now on a 2-way contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. But, I mean, this is the first time we've ever seen a G Leaguer or a non-NBA guy be asked to participate in the dunk contest, which is awesome. So just for the cool story, I'm excited to watch him. But I think I'm with Jake, man. I think Jericho Sims just dunks so hard. Like, even his in-game dunks when it's just like a regular 2-hand flush, like, he just makes it look so easy. And like his bounce for rebounds, like I feel like he's just going to be able to get the most creative because how much he can fly. So Jericho Sims is probably who I would put my money on to take this home, and looking forward to it for sure. Do you guys see this, by the way, too? Jakob Poeltl, we know he got traded to the Raptors. The first player in Raptors history to score 30 points with 0 threes and 0 free throws in a game. And he's the first player to do it since 2014. It was Al Jefferson was the last person to do it.
Al Jefferson.
That's a name I haven't heard of. Yeah. Big Al Jefferson.
Yeah. He was the original Big Al, bro.
He was.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. That's just the most Raptors thing to happen in the world. I swear to God.
dude.
Not even the most Pirtle thing, the most Raptors thing.
But he's given them that kind of the big man they needed, where they don't have to play Pascal at the 5 anymore. Where it's not like, oh, are we using Koloko? Are we using Boucher? It does not matter. It's like, Pirtle's a great landing spot for him. I was watching a little bit of that game, and he looked great, man.
I mean, scoring 30 with 0 threes, even like the free throws, if those happen to be in there, that'd be like, whatever, that's still impressive. But 0 free throws, 0 threes, 30 points. Like, that is just straight grinding it out on the block, dude. That is impressive stuff from Pirtle, man. I can see why, the asking price was what it was from the Spurs. And yeah, that's a good point, Steve. Siakam, as well as he's been doing, you would like to see him not have to take a beating and, go up against guys who are definitely, because I mean, if we're being honest, like, he's a fantastic player, not taking anything away from him, but he's undersized if he's playing the 5.
He's 6'8". He's 6'8". He can play big. He's very strong.
He's long.
But he should not have to play the 5. And you'll see sometimes with the Raptors, there are other, big men that just can be awkward.
Oh yeah, Boucher is just not a traditional 5. Like, he can't be. I'd rather have Siakam than Boucher. Like, he's just too thin. He's too thin. He doesn't play tough. Yeah.
And Koloko's young, rookie year. Koloko, he's still very limited offensively. So you have that too. They have Achua as well, who is kind of not really a 5, but
he just likes to rebound.
Yeah, it's more so late game. Pascal has been playing the 5 usually because the Raptors will just play small and they'll play Pascal at the 5. But now with Pirtle, it gives them a lot more options. If they're going up against a team that's playing bigger, they don't really need to run Gary Trent out there, right? You can have Van Vliet, you can have Anunoby, you can have Pascal, but you're not going to be too undersized. Pirtle really helped them, especially at the end of last night.
Yeah, man. So that's a great scoop for the Raptors there. We'll see what they can do if they can turn this season around. I know you guys talked about this on the deadline show, but I was surprised they didn't make more of a splash. Like, this is the team that everyone's like, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, is he going to get moved? Even Siakam was in some talks. And here they are, the 9th seed. Now they have Siakam. They're 13 and a half games out of the 1 seed, but everyone knows how tight both conferences are kind of towards the bottom. Like you guys were saying, the play-in is going to be super important for the first time, it seems like. So who knows? Toronto, maybe on the up and up with getting a guy like this.
I like their team. I just don't think they're that deep. Like, I like their starting lineup now. It's the same thing with the Raptors all the time, right? They have good players, but they don't really have that superstar take the game over. And I love Pascal Siakam. You know that. And their bench is so inconsistent. So I feel like it's going to be same old story with the Raptors. They'll probably sneak in, give a team a good series, and then they'll be going home.
Yeah, a lot of red-faced Nick Nurse on the sideline getting mad at someone. Speaking of guys who have had 30-point games and not had to use the 3-ball, old friend LaMarcus Aldridge looking to make another NBA comeback. Steve's Dallas Mavericks might be looking to sign veteran LaMarcus Aldridge. That's been in the news lately. So, probably not the craziest needle mover, but a little scoring off the bench, size probably couldn't hurt with this group. They lost some assets for sure in that, in the Kyrie deal. And
I like the leadership that could bring in. That's just like a locker room. That's a situation with Kyrie and Luka that could be, you just want a guy. You'd like to have glue guys in there who've been around and can kind of, talk to their level. Like he was a super duper star in the league, like max contract guy and everything. Like he's someone that can actually speak to them on that level and get them on the same page. I think it's as valuable for that as anything else.
And a tough player too, what did we say after this Kyrie Luka deal? The biggest concern with Dallas would be their defense. And if you look, since Luka and Kyrie have been on the floor at the same time in 3 games, they've allowed 114, 133, and 124 points. Like, Dallas needs help defensively, and I'm all for it if they get him, Dunny, because that means that Powell and Kleba probably won't have to play 30 minutes a night in a playoff game, and that is the biggest red flag. That's why I said the Mavs. I need them to get another guy at the deadline, another forward, just to be another body, just to log some minutes, so you don't have to run these guys out there the whole time. And who knows? I mean, I think it would be a good idea. I know Dallas kind of had their sights set on Terrence Ross, and then he went to the Suns, and that was kind of tough for them there. But I think
it's tough. Cuban fucked up, bro. You gotta meet with him as the owner. The owner of the Suns met with Terrence Ross. Like come on. How does Cuban drop the ball?
Yeah, and if you meet with Cuban, you're going to the Mavs. If you're meeting face to face with Cuban, you're already on the Mavs.
He dropped the ball.
Asking you what jersey number you want.
He dropped the ball.
Yeah. I agree.
People have to remember, you just maybe, I don't know why, I just got like the biggest blast from the past, but Mark Cuban meeting with Chandler Parsons in a nightclub to sign his contract.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's just how Cuban rolls.
Do you remember Cuban chasing around LA trying to find DeAndre Jordan? Do you remember that whole story?
Yeah.
When the Clippers locked him in their house or in the house or whatever, and he's like searching, calling DeAndre on his agent. But Cuban doesn't fuck around, bro.
Right.
Drop the ball here. I don't know. Before I saw this report, for some reason in the back of my head, I was like, oh, the Mavs are going to sign Carmelo out of the clouds. I just had a feeling. Scoring, like you said, just
That's
another forward, just another body. No, it's not. But for some reason, I just thought they might do it. But LaMarcus Aldridge makes a bit more sense. So I think they should do it. I know the news and notes run a little long here, but what do you guys think? Just quick thoughts of Kyrie and Luka so far. That Timberwolves game was fucking insane the other night.
It was a great game. They're two such gifted offensive players.
Yeah, they were down 20.
The end of the game, take a shot. I know you're trying to get the perfect shot. Shoot the ball. And Luka he's there where Luka wants to make his teammates better. He wants to get them open, and he was just begging Kyrie to shoot it, and Kyrie just wouldn't shoot the ball, which is the opposite problem you thought they'd have.
They're trying to be too nice to each other, like you just said. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So we'll see. It's only 3 games in. The defense is a major red flag, but I'm not going to say that's just Kyrie and Luka's fault playing together. It's the Mavs gave up some of their better defensive players in deadline deals.
Yeah.
But offensively, dude, it's been so much fun. It's been so much fun to watch. They get what they want offensively. When they're both on the court, man, it is, dude, it feels like a pickup game sometimes. They're like, all right, everyone else stand around. We're going to have 2 guys here, and we're just going to carve up the defense.
I mean, just that comeback alone, dude. Like, they were down 20 in the third quarter of that game, and just, like, I feel like I literally watched the replay, like, an hour before we hopped on. It was rerun on NBA TV, and it was just, like, every shot in the fourth, like, late third and early fourth quarter was just, like, Kyrie and Luka, big buckets, big buckets, getting to the line, big buckets. And then, it's funny, that last play was literally the complete opposite of all of our reactions of when the trade first happened. We were like, oh, is it going to be the only one ball thing? And they just were both being so selfless and just kept trying to give it back to each other.
So
and then Kyrie, for some reason, tried to dump it down to the paint. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
That's a conversation where you have to say,
because you needed a 3 there.
Nobody else is touching this ball besides you two.
Yeah,
like one of you's taking this shot. Kyrie, what are you doing? Because they didn't even expect the ball. Didn't even expect it, because you don't expect it when you have 2
I will
guys.
say,
they played hot potato.
I will say, though, even though that was a very high scoring affair and everything, Anthony Edwards' effort defensively and even what he was able to do in that game in spurts and everything is terrifying. That's what I came away from everything.
He's taken a leap this year.
It's happened, And it's,
I mean, just him competing with those two through and through in that game is wild.
Yeah. And the scoring is he can score literally any way he wants to now. Like he had like the confidence, he knows his spots, everything. It's kind of terrifying watching him. And like
D'Lo's out of the situation now.
Yeah.
And his usage rate has gone through the roof. It doesn't matter if he's scoring now; he's setting up teammates.
He's doing everything,
which is something that wasn't even in his initial scouting report coming out of Georgia. You didn't really think he'd be a playmaker. Ant-Man now is averaging, it feels like, almost over 5 assists, 6 rebounds per game, while scoring almost 30 a night. I mean, he's taken that step up. I never want to say an injury's a blessing in disguise, but if the big cat never got hurt, I don't know if Ant-Man would have made this jump. I don't know if Karl-Anthony Towns never gets hurt. I don't know if he made this jump, because as soon as he got hurt, he looked around and he's going, my other options are Rudy Gobert and D'Angelo Russell, who you really never know what you're going to get on a nightly basis. He kind of was like, all right, I got to grow up quickly, and forced into this role of being the superstar on a team. And he's really blown my expectations away from this season because I didn't think Ant-Man was going to get there already, but he's turning into a superstar.
Yeah, they're 6-4 in their last 10, and they're sitting in the 8th seed right now. So I mean, they keep this rise going. You know, Cat gets back in the mix and starts doing his thing again. Could be interesting for the T-Wolves, but we'll wait and see. They do still have Rudy Gobert, so I'm not going to get too ahead of it. But
and that's one thing that we didn't talk about last week on our trade deadline reaction, and it is something that I didn't think about at all. Is Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert did have pretty good rapport, and I think that that's a way to help. I think that trade bringing him in was as much to give some familiarity to Gobert and someone that he was effective with, maybe because. I mean, we've seen it the rest of the year with it. Like maybe I don't think that's going to help, solve the problem or anything with Gobert. But I do think Conley on that roster instead of D'Lo, same thing we were talking about with Aldridge earlier, that he might be lesser of a player, but the experience and value he can bring to Edwards and the confidence that he could help give him might be worth more than having a better player in that position right now.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, it's really interesting. I feel like that is a sneaky move that I feel like for some reason the last 3 years people have just thought Mike Conley's washed, and I just don't think that's the case. Obviously, there's been a bit of a drop off, but he's still
just so smart, man. It's just one of the smartest. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Conley's like a head coach in 10 years.
Yeah, and just like the assortment of bigs he's played with throughout his career too. It's like he knows what he's doing in that department.
Oh yeah.
Last bit of news here. My guy Marcus Smart is back tonight after a long absence. Woo! Long absence. He's back against the Pistons tonight. And in his absence, I believe it was 11 games that Derek White has been a starter while Smart has been gone. These are his stats over the last 10. 21 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game, 6 assists per game, a block per game, and shooting splits of 49, 43, and 88. Derek White is literally playing out of his goddamn mind right now.
This is why the Celtics are so scary, dude. This is why they're so scary. Because they just keep winning games. No Jaylen Brown, no Marcus Smart. Doesn't matter. Derek White comes in. It's just incredible.
Last night, no Tatum, no Brown, no Smart, and it's a dogfight for the Bucks at home. Like, what the fuck?
No Horford.
Yeah. Sorry, don't want to disrespect Big Al. He belongs.
No, but it's just like they took the Milwaukee Bucks to overtime, and we're completely healthy Milwaukee Bucks. Actually, Portis may have not played last night, but
Portis is out for a little bit.
Yeah, but nearly because that was the Bucks fans to Boston fans all last year. It's like, oh, if we have Middleton, it's like, bro, you guys got some bigger things to worry about this year. The Celtics, the hospital Celtics just took you guys to overtime at your home gym. But besides the point, I did just want to give Derek White his flowers. I mean, it's crazy talking about the Bucks too. Dan Greenberg works for Barstool Sports, writer for the Celtics. He posted Derek White's numbers, these numbers I just read to you guys, in comparison to Drew Holiday. And Derek White is almost better in every category. I think the only thing he's not is assists. His defensive stats are better, and all his shooting splits are better. And Drew Holiday's an all-star.
Yeah.
And granted, this is a small sample size, but it's like this is what he's doing when given the opportunity to get starter minutes. And he's also a tough son of a bitch because he's playing tonight on a back-to-back and he has a hole in his eardrum because Grayson Allen whacked him upside the head.
Shocking.
Because Grayson Allen is just the biggest scum in the NBA.
Yeah. Without fail.
And I will say I don't love it, but like I like the physicality and like I like that there's villains in the league. But it is always just like it sucks when it's like some shit like that. It's like, dude, we're not actually trying to have guys out here miss games because you're trying to be a villain or you're doing dirty plays. It can be, it's nice to have guys like that in the league, but sometimes it goes a bit too far. So Grayson Allen, watch yourself.
That's just Donnie saying Grayson Allen would legitimately be the perfect Boston Celtic. Like he would be the biggest. Like there'd be Grayson Allen jerseys all over the arena.
Yeah, dude, we couldn't do that. Boston already gets a bad enough rep, dude. If we had Grayson Allen, we would get crucified.
Brad knows better. He knows better. He has to.
We have Sam Hauser, dude. We don't need Grayson Allen. But
Hauser's been playing well too lately.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, if I could have a whole segment about the Celtics bench, but I'll save that for another show. If you guys want that, just follow me on Twitter. I get obnoxious with it. But all NBA teams, you guys ready to hop into it?
Let's get it.
Do it.
You guys want to go start with our third team and go up, or do you?
Well, I've got the graphic here too. We already put the graphic up, so we can start. I think
bring it all up. Team. We gotta start with the first team, right?
Start with the great guys here.
I think the first team for obvious, right? I think if you're going anyone's first team, Jokic obviously in there. He's averaging a triple-double with the greatest efficiency in NBA history right now, on his way to win his third MVP, and the Nuggets are in first place in the West. Like Jokic is ridiculous. You got Tatum, who's having an MVP type season of his own, carrying this Celtics team, which looks like the favorites right now to win the whole thing. Giannis is Giannis and Luka's Luka, right? I mean, and as long as they're in the league, they're probably going to be a first team for the next, 10 years. Giannis and Giannis is Giannis, Luka's Luka. They take over games. Their stats look like video game numbers. And then our final one, the second guard, which I think that's maybe where you can make the arguments of other guards. But I think SGA is a first teamer.
Yeah.
He's averaging over 30. He's carrying the Oklahoma City Thunder, who, when Chet went down at the beginning of the year, everyone's like, that team is going to be bad. They're gonna be a bad team. And look at what Giddey and SGA are doing. SGA has been unbelievable. And the big difference between SGA and a lot of other guards, I think, in potential for the first team, is SGA doesn't rely on the three-pointer as much as some of these other guards do. SGA attacks, constantly attacks the rim. He's always to the line. He deserves it, man. He's playing like a first-team All-NBA player this year.
SGA doesn't play at any pace except his own. No matter what is happening in the game, you could be watching a game that is either breakneck speed up and down the floor or the slowest basketball game in the world, and it doesn't matter what SGA, when he has the ball in his hands, it's just going to be whatever he wants. He might go right to the rim. He might just dribble you to death and get to the mid-range. I shouldn't say never, but right now I don't know if there's a better player at controlling the pace in the league night to night. I don't think there is. Luka might be close, but other than that, and LeBron is another person you could always talk about with that. But SGA is just so effective in it too. He's been awesome. And there's the good team, bad team, good, whatever, that kind of argument. If you wanted to make it with the first team here, I just think he's been, when we get to the second team next, I think he's just been better than all those guys enough that he has to be on this list.
Well, and the craziest thing too, I feel like when you think SGA, you think crazy scorer because he's averaging nearly 31 points per game. This dude's defense is out of control.
Yeah.
He's averaging over 1.5 steals and 1.1 blocks per game. Those are both better than career averages. Yep. He's locking up on the defensive end. He's getting, obviously his usage is through the roof, but he's not just a scorer. 5.7 assists per game. He's doing it all for this OKC team. Literally, the only knock you could have on him is his three ball is not fantastic.
But he doesn't need it that much.
Yeah,
right. He'll shoot it.
He doesn't rely on it.
He doesn't rely on that. And you talk about someone who's attacking the rim, playing as aggressive as SGA will do late games. They got to make their free throws. He's shooting 91% from the free throw line. Yeah. So you want to follow him if he's driving in? Good luck. He's making them both anyways.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's insane, man. Shout out to SGA.
The rest of this list, though, it's automatic. You can't even debate any of those four with me. Those are the four best. I mean, if you want to still say LeBron, like we've talked about in the past, and Durant, honestly, I'm not going to argue with you. But in 2
Durant's
years,
just tough. The injury, the time.
That's how I feel. Durant and Anthony Davis, same category. When healthy, when on the court, I think they're one of the best players in the NBA. But it's just, they can't stay on the court.
Yeah. So if you're not talking the old guys or AD who can't stay, like it's these four, and there's no other conversation. I mean,
Agreed.
this year at least, I should say.
I think it's been like this for 2 years now.
There's a name. There's a name I'm looking at. There's a name I'm looking at on the third team that would like to argue about last year. I'm sure.
Well, second team as well, I think, right? Second team as well. If we're talking, obviously, when you do the All-NBA, Jokic is, you think of the big man, the center. There's another pretty good one, too, in the East. There's another good one, too.
No, he doesn't get an argument over these two, though, over the two bigs here.
No. Yeah. I would not give him an argument over those two bigs. I'm just saying that I think he's close enough where you can at least put him in the conversation.
Yeah, I would listen to it. For sure.
Yeah.
Certain parts of the season.
About it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's get to our second team.
I wonder who it is. It's Joel Embiid.
Oh, there it is.
It's Rudy Gobert.
So it's kind of crazy, right? Second team, we got LeBron and Durant, kind of for different reasons. LeBron aged, Durant more so injury-wise, but they're still here. They're still here. They're still two of the most impactful players in the NBA, and it's wild that we're saying that for how long they've been in the league.
I think it would be fun, really fun to watch this first team and second team go against each other and just see LeBron and Durant just try to alpha everybody, because they might be able to if it was that kind of situation. Like, that's why these teams are so weird. Like, you look at LeBron and Durant on this second team, you show a casual fan, they're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, anything. But that's where we're at this year. Like, these guys, like we talked about in the first team, have just been so good that LeBron and Durant, the injuries are tough if you don't want to put Durant on the second team. I get it. I just think he was too good and is going to be too good when he comes back for the Suns there. And then Mitchell and Ja, like, again, don't know how you put anybody else ahead of those two right now. You could argue both of them ahead of SGA, I think, if you wanted to. I think Mitchell has a really, really good chance to get to ahead of SGA, guys, if they're doing another guard. If the Cavs are a 3 seed or even a 2 seed to catch up to Milwaukee and he's still putting up 30 points per game, tonight will be a very good start to that. Huge game in Philly, like
big
playoff game
tonight.
Playoff
big
game, basically. Test. And if he can show out and keep doing that the rest of the month, there's going to be a really easy argument. And same for Ja too. Same for Ja. If they ball out the last month, figure out whatever's been going on with them recently, I think it's going to be really hard for people to keep SGA out when they're an 8 seed and not have Mitchell or Ja in as a top 3 seed.
Agreed.
And they're putting up similar numbers.
When you guys texted, or Jake, I think it was you that first said SGA's name, I was so on board immediately, and I'm glad we have him first team for now. But like you were just explaining, I think it could easily be Mitchell right now, man. Especially we do these awards. We award people with all NBA for the whole season, the whole body of work throughout the entire season. Like, think about the way Donovan Mitchell started this season, bro. True. He was a flamethrower every single night.
He does have a 70-point game on his dot.
Yeah, it's like let's not forget. And like you said, the standings matter a lot, but I'm not with that with Ja, bro. I forgot to mention this. I'm slightly out on the Grizzlies right now.
I think I'm with you. The vibes are off. They're not with it right now.
I know we talked about it with the whole, like, you know, I think it's just kind of weird how, like, they're pulling, like, the everyone hates us card. Mm-hmm. It's not even that. It's, I think, I forget what day. It might have been last Sunday the Celtics played the Grizzlies, and that was, like, the really, like, closest look I got Super Bowl at the Grizzlies Sunday, this year. Yes. It was Super Bowl Sunday. You're right. And Jaren Jackson fouled out of that game. Ja was doing Ja stuff, but, like, he is just not a good outside shooter, and I don't know why people like try to categorize him as one. He's a fantastic scorer, but like he has not evolved that part of his game. Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't look like
always fouls out, man, and that's the thing that worries me in the playoffs is if he gets 6-5 fouls going into the fourth quarter or something. What are you gonna do?
He was getting beat on the block by Grant Williams. Like I couldn't give it to this is a long way of me saying I couldn't give Ja all NBA first team right now, but definitely deserves the second team bid. But yeah, I agree with the Mitchell thing, man. Like I think Mitchell could easily boot SGA out of the Happy Hour Hoops first team all NBA.
And Honestly, I think Ja could fall to third team too. If we're looking
True.
at what the guards we have right now on the third team,
Yeah.
the main reason they're on the third team is because they haven't really played the full season.
These two
They've
would
been-
be so pissed to be on any third team list
If they-
ever.
Well, that's the thing. And if they were healthy all year, I can make an argument for both to even close SGA to make a
Yeah.
case for the first team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild right now where I think this is the first season in a while we've had the first, second, and third team at this point in the season, right around the All-Star break, where there's a lot of guys you could still debate, and it's crazy that we're debating maybe a third team can move up to the first team, or like first team move down to the third team. It's just wild like that, but that's how crazy the talent pool is right now in the NBA. And then, I mean, before we move on to the third team, anything we want to say about LeBron and Durant, or it's just, it's just they're doing this.
We've
just doing
we've
it,
touched on
doing
LeBron.
it.
We touched on LeBron a lot last week, so we don't need to.
I have a
like,
hilarious
wax too
thought
much.
about LeBron though.
Go ahead.
If he ends up on the second team, like he ends up just getting put on the second team, and the Lakers somehow win the championship, like I just imagine him like post game holding the trophy and be like, yeah, well, you guys put me on the All NBA second team. Like, just he will find some way to bring this up, bro. If this ends up happening and be pissed about it, but no,
That's fine. As long as he does, that's a normal thing, guys. Because I was waiting until after I was gonna be mad. Travis Kelce today said the haters were saying the Chiefs would never make the playoffs. I understand he had some
it's
poor
so
likes in
annoying,
him,
bro.
but if LeBron said some shit like that about him,
It's so
like,
annoying,
haters
bro.
said I would never make All NBA. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Travis
like,
Kelce,
dude,
Travis
the
Kelce
Chiefs
drove
were-
me nuts for the last 4 days, but
They were
The
still
main-
like this. They were the second favorite going into the season to win the Super Bowl. It's like, bro, no one counted you guys out.
No one. And that's the thing. That's the thing with LeBron James. Kind of the main reason
It's the
LeBron
same
James
thing.
doesn't win MVPs or isn't on the first team the past couple of years is because he's been doing it for 15 years. They're like, we got to get the new people in here. We got to give the new people awards. LeBron is playing unreal.
we gotta get the new
stats-
people paid. All NBA, you get
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
paid.
Stats wise, too, for LeBron, his stats are about as good as when they were in his prime.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, you've been doing this for 15 years. Like,
It's crazy. You want to get to the third team here?
yeah, let's get to
Yeah.
the third team.
Let's get it.
Now, the third team's interesting. The third team might be my favorite of the bunch in terms of just like the group we have. Like, because it's just every time I
is
look at an
fun.
all NBA team, I'm like, oh, these guys playing together. So let's start with the guards, which I said Curry and Dame. Dame's having the best season of his career. Damian Lillard is having the best season of his career. He just hasn't played like enough games. He's averaging, I think, the most points per game in his career this year. Steph Curry was in the MVP
Lights out.
discussion for a little bit before he got his first injury. Then came back for a little bit, got hurt again. But Steph Curry, when he's been on the court, has been unbelievable. Donnie, I'll let you talk about Jaylen Brown because I want to talk about the other two, Domantas Sabonis and Pascal Siakam. Siakam, people don't realize what he's doing. He's averaging 25, 8, and almost 6.5 right now for a Raptors team that, I know hasn't been that great this year, but he is the superstar on that team.
He's living up to it.
The
Yeah.
offense runs through Pascal Siakam. And that means when we talked about the beginning of the year, we're like, oh, Scotty Barnes might take the leap. They have Fred VanVleet, who's a very good player too. It's Pascal's team. And Pascal has made a leap from last year to this year after making a giant leap 2 years ago. So he's still improving. And then Domantas Sabonis. Everyone wants to talk about how the Pacers fleeced the Kings. They got Halliburton, and we love Halliburton. We're a very pro Halliburton podcast.
Yes,
we
we
always
are.
seem
Yeah.
to bring him up.
For a
Every
long
pod
time.
always hype him up. But Domantas Sabonis has been so good for the Kings. I don't want to say this as an insult, but I just kind of call him like the target version of Nikola Jokic because that's
Yeah.
what he
No, it
is.
is.
He
No,
is,
it
yeah.
is.
Everything basically that Jokic can, just he's not Jokic because Jokic is ridiculous with the efficiency he does and how like you watch a Nuggets game and halfway through you're like, those are Jokic numbers right now. Sabonis will have those types of games for the Kings, and I'll tell you what, the Kings wouldn't be nearly as close in the playoff discussion as they are right now, or nearly have the team success if it wasn't for Sabonis, which I get such a bad rep because everyone's like, oh, how do you trade Halliburton? Pacers fleeced him. Kings got a pretty damn good player too, and he's been fantastic this year.
Yeah, man, it is wild. Like the whole Sabonis thing. Like I feel like he's playing out of his mind this year, and somehow got more recognition when he was in Indiana. But I guess maybe that's just the Kings factor for you. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, all these guys are super deserving. It is crazy just to like look down, see third team, and then your eyes just go to Curry and Dame, and you're like, wait a damn second here.
Third team, is that a typo?
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's fair.
We picked
right
Shai
now.
Gilgeous-Alexander, Donovan Mitchell, and John Morant over Steph Curry and Damian Lillard.
Dude,
like,
you would get
like,
shot if you said that on Twitter last year, bro.
Yeah.
But it's also our show, and these are the Happy Hour Hoops rankings, so subject to change. I do got to talk about my guy Jaylen Brown though. Jaylen Brown, third team. I think it's deserving. It's funny too because I was pulling up his stats, and the last person's stats I had up was Ja when we were just talking about him. And aside from Jaylen having the slight edge in rebounds, and then Ja having a pretty sizable edge in the assist column, Ja and Jaylen's stats are like pretty similar down to steals per game, shooting splits. Jaylen has a slightly better free throw percentage. Ja has a slightly better field goal percentage, but we just talked about how Ja's deserving of second team, possibly, on the brink of first. And here's Jaylen Brown, a guy who is not a point guard, doesn't nearly have the same usage rate, and is a second fiddle on his team. Mm-hmm. And he's still able to put up 27 a game, 7 rebounds, a steal a game, and, shoot at a pretty high clip. I think that to me is the most impressive part about Jaylen Brown this season. It's like he's playing at an all-NBA level as a second fiddle, and there really isn't too many other guys on this list that we can say that about.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's the only one on this list, right, of the 15 that is repeating teammates, right? Tatum and Brown are the only teammates of the All-NBA, which speaks volumes to Jaylen Brown, where he can be like that secondary star on a team and still be that dominant, Dunny, to be just even in the discussion for an All-NBA team is kind of wild.
Yeah, man, I'm glad that we were able to give the Jays their flowers in this little section here. I mean, Tatum, it's still pretty surreal. Just like, I know it's almost obvious at this point, but it's still pretty surreal seeing Tatum in first team All-NBA
ahead of LeBron James and Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
it is.
like that happened way too quick, bro.
It's weird. It's weird looking at it right 19. Now. I know, dude. Sky's the limit.
He's almost as old as Mbappe.
Yeah.
But real quick, guys, any honorable mentions you want to mention? Because I got a few names that I think deserve at least some name. Like
I got a couple. Jalen Brunson has to get mentioned, and it's mostly just how recent he's turned it up, bro.
I love that.
I love the Knicks muse. Every day there's just a Jalen Brunson compared to other super duper star, and his numbers are better. Mm-hmm. Like, he is just dominating right now, and maybe this is always what was there for him, and why you were willing. And makes your poor Mavs look even worse, not signing that 4-year, $55 million in the middle of last year. Brunson has to get mentioned. Our boy Halliburton has to get mentioned. Again, these two, I think I want to mention just because the guard position is going to be so hard to break through, as we've talked about here. Yes. But guys that in a normal year would definitely be up for consideration. Everything else, those are 2 big names that jump out to me. What about you guys?
I'm gonna go with the big man route. With my 2 names. The first one, I'm going Jalen Brunson's teammate, Julius Randle. Last year was kind of a step backwards for Julius Randle, to the point where we were like, maybe that playoff series really kind of like hurt him, because he was terrible in the playoffs, and it carried into last year where he was really bad, really inefficient. And look at Randall now, almost averaging almost 25 and 11. I think he's just under both those numbers, like 24.7, 10.8 rebounds. He's shooting the ball a lot better. The offense is kind of running through him a little bit too. You'll watch Knicks games. He'll take the ball up the court. He'll be the one who runs the offense. Randall's been incredible, and that's part of the reason the Knicks have been, a lot better this year. Is Brunson and Randall have really helped this team we thought the Knicks were going to be not doomsday this year, but they were going to be trending downward, that they overpaid for Brunson, that Randall took a step back, and maybe the year before was a fluke. But they're proving that those were the opposite, and that Brunson and Randall are both stars in this league. So I got to go Julius Randle. And then the other one, we talk about this team all the time. They started slow. I say it all the time. They always figure it out. It's heat culture, and it's Bam Adebayo. Yeah. Bam is getting more aggressive offensively. The biggest thing he wanted. His defense is unbelievable. You don't score in the paint against the Miami Heat. And Bam, I know Hero and Jimmy Butler are there too, and they got their kind of, big three type of deal, but it almost feels like right now, Bam is the focal point of this Miami Heat team. And I've been very, very impressed with what I've seen from Bam this year. He's kind of taken that, step two that everyone was expecting but never really saw. Bam and Randall, I gotta give just a little bit of props to, because I could definitely see them pushing, a guy like Pascal Siakam or Domantas Sabonis at the end of the year to try to get into that third team. And then the last one, before I go to you, Dunny, the last one, I just have to say it. If Anthony Davis played enough games, he'd be on one of these teams. He'd be on one of these teams. Yeah. If he played enough games, that's the only reason he's not out here. We're not crazy. Yeah. We're not having any anti-Anthony Davis bias. He would be on one of these teams, and he'd probably be second or first team if he was healthy.
Yeah, I agree. Before I get back to you, Dunny, there is one more name I forgot to mention, and it's, again, a thing. If he didn't miss the first 10, 12 games would be in this conversation. Darius Garland has been an all-NBA talent all year long. All year long. He's just missed too much time at the beginning, and it was too slow of a start because fucking Gary Trent can't cut his nails or whatever the fuck his issue is. But Garland has been amazing. And I sent it to you guys, I think the other day or yesterday. It was like hashtag NBA or one of the Twitter accounts put like the best relationships in the NBA, and it was like the best assist duos. And Garland to Mobley and Allen is top 12 in the league, along with Marcus Smart to Tatum and Brown, which I think has a little more to do with Tatum and Brown than Marcus Smart. But that definitely has way more to do with Garland and what he's able to do with those big men. So I wish he played 10 more games, because I would have put him on the third team somehow.
Hell yeah. Oh, Jake, remind me who were your first two guys? I just don't want to repeat.
Brunson and Halliburton.
Oh, word. All right. Yeah. I couldn't remember. I remember Brunson. I didn't remember if you said this guy. And this guy is going to be a surprise to you guys. But it's Kyrie Irving, man.
I was actually thinking about him too.
Can't stand the dude for a lot of reasons, and none of them are what he does on the court, man. He is majestic every time he plays. I mean, we were talking about that Mavs Timberwolves game. The reason they were in that game is because of Kyrie Irving. I mean, all NBA is about what you do on the basketball court, and he is fucking special, dude. Like, it's incredible. He's just a scoring machine this year, and he's always made it look so easy. But that's the best part about watching his game. It's just always so goddamn easy. And it's just like, if he can somehow get himself together and finish out the season and not miss a bunch of games, I think, just his namesake and then his performance, dude. Like, he could easily end up on any of these. Probably not the first team. Definitely not the first team. But, a second, all-NBA second team, all-NBA third team. Wouldn't be surprised. And then this dude, kind of same reason. Kawhi Leonard missed a bunch of games. Dude, he's on an absolute tear since he's come
back.
Kawhi
is all the way back. He's all the way back finally.
All the way back. He's, the Clippers are on the rise now. He's just so efficient, and I feel like that's what people forget. He's averaging 22 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, whatever. But 50% from the field, just nearly 40% from three, 87% from the free throw line, and then, stealing a half a game too because he's still the claw. It's like this, and he's up to 33 games played now this season. And I just, if he can stay healthy and finish out the year, same thing, namesake, and he's just an unbelievable talent. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all if he ends up on one of these teams.
In January and February, Dunny, Kawhi's averaging over 26 a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and he's shooting over 92% from the free throw line, around 50% from 3-point, and over 50% from the field.
50, 90 is not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad splits.
In a 2-month span.
5 and 5. Oh, yeah, that's Kawhi right there.
Like that's all NBA.
Forgot about. Yeah,
that's all NBA.
That's all
question.
NBA. It is. Yeah, without a doubt. If he's 50, 40, 90 in 60 games or 55 games, it's tough to take him out, man.
Yeah.
And remember, like 2 months ago when I declared right now the best basketball product, it's just a cosign stamp on that, because think about the amount of guys that we just named as honorable mentions for all NBA, and none of us had any dispute for any of them.
Right.
It's like there's a world.
If
where
any of
all
those names
guys,
were on our list, I would be like, all right, yeah.
It's just like that's where we're like it's never been harder to put those teams together.
We didn't even mention Lauri Markkanen, who should be maybe an all NBA talent, like would have been in the first half for sure.
That's another
Devin
name.
Booker.
I honestly
Devin Booker. Yep.
Yeah.
Anthony
I honestly
Edwards,
think
we were talking about earlier.
In the offseason, we have to try to do the happy hour hoops like top 50 players in the NBA, because that would be such a tough list to rank. Because I was telling you guys, I can't even rank like the top 20 without just debating with myself.
That's 5 episodes for us, dude.
I can't rank the top 5
episode.
I know, right?
Dude, right? It's a good thing we do this podcast remote, because if we tried to do a top 20 in person, we'd break out into a full-on fist fight. I think it'd be too damn difficult.
Steve, how do you not have Jaylen Brown in your top 20? What are you doing?
That's exactly where that would go. Real quick, bro. All right, let's round out the show with some youngsters who. These guys might be on this list in a few years, maybe even next year for some of these guys, because this rookie class, I feel like, hasn't got enough shine, and maybe it is just because the stars have been out this season for, just the regular cast of guys in the NBA. But the rookie rankings, super exciting class. All of our guys who we took for, our picks for rookie of the year, we all had 3 different ones, all made the list for our rookie rankings. I was able to sneak my guy in there last.
He did sneak him in.
Yeah. We'll just go right down the list here. Number 1, Paolo Banchero, just
obvious.
Could not be more obvious. Yeah, he's unbelievable.
He was the preseason favorite to win Rookie of the Year. He's the favorite right now. He's been doing pretty much everything for the Magic. Banchero's been great. He's been worthy of a number 1 overall pick. That's for sure.
Yeah, I believe that was Jake's selection, and this is your guy here, Benedict Mathurin. Steve, I mean, you've been preaching Benedict Mathurin to us since the summer. I mean, the raw talent was obvious, but I did not see him exploding on the scene like this. And him and Halliburton has been amazing.
He's a walking bucket, and he plays with such intensity. He's one of those guys who plays with such intensity. Sky's the limit for him. I want to see him be more of a well-rounded player probably next year, right? But it's tough when you're coming off the bench every game. But to be averaging around 17 a game coming off the bench as a rookie, you gotta think that his ceiling is limitless right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man, it's wild what Mathurin's been able to do. And I think this dude who's next, kind of same deal for me. Jaden Ivey, who I'm about to watch play in 10 minutes here against the Boston Celtics. And I watched him last week against the Celtics as well. I mean, talk about a guy who just came in NBA ready. I mean, we knew he was a scorer in college, but the way he's able to score and the contested shots that Jaden Ivey hits, it's pretty amazing. He honestly has a lot of SGA in his game. Jake, the way you talked about like how SGA is just always playing at his pace, Jaden Ivey has a little bit of that in him. Unbelievable scorer, like I said. And, this, I don't know if this is a crazy take, but with Cade Cunningham missing all this time this year, Jaden Ivey kind of having his way, it's kind of his team, I would say, for right now.
Yeah.
Sadiq Bey kind of getting out of there, another scorer leaving. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's a big reason they got rid of Bey, is just like, let's give Ivy the keys and see what happens. Like, we got, a month and a half to just throw this kid into the fire. Like a matchup tonight, like even without Brown and Tatum, that's going to be, he's got to play against Smart. He's going to have to play. Oh, is Tatum back tonight? Yeah. So he's going to, going against those guys defensively is going to be a huge test for him. And that's the kind of thing you only get through experience and reps. So I'm with you there.
And the biggest thing for Ivy is just consistency, right? There's just some games he shies away. There's some games where he's great, but when he's on, Ivy is one of the best guards in basketball. And he's someone too where maybe not to the extent of Russell Westbrook, but maybe in a couple years, we're going to see Ivy averaging like not triple double type numbers, but he's going to be getting a handful of triple doubles a year. Yeah. Like that's just the type of player Ivy is. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's such an aggressive player. So he's going for those rebounds. Yeah. He's a great playmaker. And like you said, Dunny, doesn't matter the type of look. He's putting up that shot and he's making those types of shots.
And we saw that at Purdue, right? Like he just, like you said, when he's on, it's like
he's a man amongst
who
boys.
Is this guy? I clicked on his stats here because he is playing the Celtics tonight. His season numbers against the C's: 19.7 points per game, 4.7 assists, and he's shooting 50% from three against the Celtics this year.
Decent.
Not bad.
It's crazy, man. Let's round out the list here. Last two: Walker Kessler, who, I mean, we kind of gave him his flowers the other week because we were like, was he just the best asset that the Jazz got in return for Rudy Gobert? Because he's kind of already performing at I can't say same level because that would just maybe too disrespectful. But I mean, he's on his way, man. Like Walker Kessler is a beast. He's a great talent. I definitely slept on him. I kind of thought he was just a big body. He could be a paint presence on both ends, but I mean, he has the intangibles too. And the Jazz have a pretty good one at Walker Kessler, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're looking for someone who's young to come in and quote unquote replace Rudy Gobert, they couldn't have found a better player than Walker Kessler. Maybe he's not at the part Rudy Gobert was at his peak, but Walker Kessler could absolutely get there. And I was telling you guys, I wouldn't be shocked if a few years down the road we see Walker Kessler's name in discussion for Defensive Player of the Year.
He's averaging 2 blocks a game as a rookie. It's shooting 71% from the field.
It's nuts, man.
It's what he was doing at Auburn. He was just dominating the paint both offensively and defensively. He doesn't need to do anything else. There's some guys that don't need to do too much else, but he does it so well.
Yeah, averages 8 and 8, and it's just it's boring as can be. He's definitely the most boring guy we have on this list, but he just he does what he's supposed to for the Utah Jazz. And last here, my guy Keegan Murray. I don't think he has a shot at winning the Rookie of the Year anymore. Unfortunately, that was my pick. I honestly think it's just because Paolo has it wrapped up, in my opinion.
I think Paolo's going to win it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it would take an injury or for one of these other rookies to start averaging 40 a game for someone to take it away from him.
Like Ben Mathurin joins the starting lineup and turns
guys, Paolo. I'm not going to be surprised if Paolo is in that All-NBA conversation next year. Like, legit.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about bringing him up just because, like, as far as like consistency and kind of guys who are like running the offense for their teams, like he walked in the Orlando Magic locker room and was like, I'm the best talent in here, and like it's true. Yeah, like you watch the Magic and you're like, yep, he's that dude. But yeah, Keegan Murray, last guy here. The only thing that like holds strong for Keegan Murray, and I think it's a reason I wanted him to be on this list, is like he's shooting nearly 42% from three, and that's what he came in for. And just the amount of scorers and like the crazy offensive performers that the Kings have this year, it's like they don't really need him to do all that much. 12 points a game, shooting 42% from three. Like I feel like that's just kind of what we expected from him.
And
so yeah.
Dunny, you said when you were hyping him up for Rookie of the Year that he's probably the most pro-ready guy. From the moment he was kind of in the rotation for the Kings, He's playing the important minutes. He's playing the late game minutes. He's on the court in close games. And that speaks volumes as a rookie when you have the trust in a guy like that to just the Kings right now are our playoff team. And Keegan Murray is one of the reasons because he's just been such an important piece for them.
Yeah. Yeah, man. They a lot of rookies just kind of doing their thing. I know you guys both brought up a few bigs who definitely deserve their flowers too. Jalen Duren and Jabari Smith Jr. Like, the rookie class is just slept on this year. I feel like we're not hearing much about any of these guys.
Just a bunch of solid, like they've all just like a lot of them just stepped in and just in a role and like contributing to teams like in ways like that. Like they're not making a lot of mistakes. Like guys that were just ready to step into the NBA this year. It's kind of crazy. And maybe that's a trend coming out. Who knows? Like maybe that's something we're going to see more often.
Can I give
We've seen it with the NFL.
names?
Oh, maybe it's coming to the NBA. Yeah, go.
2 more names. First, Andrew Nembhard. We talked about Ben Mathurin as the Pacers. Nembhard was an incredible pick by the Pacers. When other key players were out, Nembhard really stepped up, and he's someone who's in the starting lineup every single night now. He's someone who plays 30-plus minutes a night for the Pacers. I love Nembhard. He doesn't have to do too much now, obviously, with Halliburton back, but Nembhard's great, and we saw him step up when he needed to. And then the last one here, who's been very, very quiet so far this year, but I think we're going to have a huge second half, and I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think he averages a double-double from the All-Star break to the end of the season. Mark Williams for the Charlotte Hornets. He's going to get a ton of minutes. He's going to get a ton of minutes because Plumlee's gone, and he's going to get a ton of minutes with LaMelo, and he was a monster at Duke on the boards. I'm a monster on the boards. He's basically kind of like Duke's version of Walker Kessler. When Walker Kessler at Auburn, that was Duke's version. Mark Williams also, too, is one of the strongest college basketball players I've watched in a while. I think we're going to see him really take a big step up, kind of like how Jalen Green did in the second half. I call it the second half of the season, but you know what I mean. Post All-Star break, where his stats really jumped up because he got a lot more, usage, a lot more volume on a bad team. Exact same scenario here, totally different style of player, but I think Mark Williams is someone who's going to put his name out there of someone who could average 15 and 12 next year would be something I could see. He's just a monster on the boards, and he's just someone, like I said, kind of like Walker Kessler, but for the Charlotte Hornets, just such a strong, physical, kind of old school classic big man.
Yeah. Is that I mean, it's crazy the rookies we have. I don't know. Maybe it is just like how long we took for the all NBA teams and like how talented the league is this year. But I mean, the league is not only in good hands from the superstars and young stars that we have, but just the guys coming in are unbelievable. And then we got Wemby to deal with next year. So
Wemby to deal
and
with,
Scoop.
And Scoop. And we didn't even talk about some of the rookies from last year's class that are making leaps. It's crazy. I mean, Evan Mobley. We want to talk about guys who could be on the All NBA team next year. Look at the way Evan
I'm not hyping up Mobley tonight. If he gets 40 and 10 put up on him or 40 and 20 by Joel Embiid, he don't deserve to be mentioned here. So let's be careful.
I'll mention Evan Mobley every damn day. Jake. You know that.
He better show up. That's all I'm saying. That's their big. It's Mobley. I think has been awesome. Barnes has been awesome recently. He started slower, and I think that was a lot of the thing. I think we've talked about it, but I think I've heard it on other podcasts too. Like coming into the season, probably way too cocky, rocking around like, "Hey, they wouldn't trade me for Kevin Durant." Not a great attitude for a second-round player to be told, or a second-year player to be told all summer. So I think that was part of it too. But yeah, like that's going to be a crazy class too. Those are just 2 names.
We're going to have to talk about these classes at some time. We got to redraft the classes because I love talking about the young players.
I'm down.
Yeah, maybe a Happy Hour Hoops redraft coming soon. But that'll be it for our show today, guys. All NBA teams, Happy Hour Hoops edition in the books. Rookie rankings, Happy Hour Hoops edition in the books. Good slate of basketball tonight. Jake told us Cavs on ESPN against the Sixers. Huge game, huge implications. I hope the Cleveland Cavaliers just wipe the floor with Philly because I would love to see that. I'm so
nervous right now, guys. It feels like a play. I'm going to be freaking out in the next 10 minutes. The Cavs do not play well against Philly. You got a great – no, that is
Nuggets Mavs.
Yes.
Nuggets Mavs.
incredible.
Great games.
Why the fuck did they not push that back an hour and put that on ES? Why do we got to watch the Lakers and the Pelicans? Like, come on, man. Why would we not want the Nuggets match? Like, they just changed this Cavs game. It was not supposed. It was like Friday night they put the Cavs there. Do we really need the Lakers on? And I understand it's the Lakers, whatever. Still,
they're always going to put Lakers.
How are you not going to put Luka versus Jokic on national TV? What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's a drop the ball situation right there.
That's why we have League Pass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm locking in. I'm locking in after, regardless. But
so you league passers out there who are joining us, y'all will be happy. But yeah, for Steve, Jake, and myself, this was another episode of Happy Hour Hoops. Go follow Trainwreck Sports on all platforms. Follow us at Happy Hour Hoops 1 on all socials. Follow us individually on Twitter, all that good stuff. If you're listening, check us out on YouTube. We got a live streams going every time we record that are on Twitter and YouTube. And enjoy the slate of NBA games and enjoy the All-Star break this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Later, guys.